Host.
Okay.
Okay, sir, we are starting the meeting in next 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3,
Recording in progress.
1, and you may start your proceeding, sir.
Good evening, everyone. It's 4:30 p.m. right now, and I welcome all the members to the 54th Annual General Meeting of the company. This meeting is being conducted through video conferencing in accordance with the circular issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI. The majority of the board members and senior management are attending this meeting from different locations. Let me first now request can introduce the board members and senior management. Let me first request Dr. Harshad Mehta, promoter, to introduce himself before the members. Over to you, Harshad, sir.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon and welcome to 54th AGM. My name is Harshad Mehta, promoter of RIR. I am joining from my house in Cupertino, California. Thank you.
Mr. Kisan R. Chokshi. The board has appointed him as the chairman for this AGM.
I am Kisan
Director of the company and chairman of the audit committee.
Joining this meeting from my office in Mumbai.
Okay. Mr. Praveen Jisha, independent director of the company and chairman of Stakeholders Relationship Committee. Over to you, Praveen, sir.
I am Praveen Shah. I am joining this meeting from my office.
Mr. Piyush Kesar, director of the company.
I'm Mr. Piyush Kesar. I am joining from New Jersey, USA. Thank you.
Dr. Madhav Manjrekar, independent director of the company.
Thank you, Bhavin Bhai. I am Dr. Madhav Manjrekar, independent director of the company. I am joining this meeting from my residence in North Carolina, USA. Thank you.
In line with introduction of the board members, myself, Bhavin P. Rambia, I am company secretary of the company. I am attending this AGM from registered and corporate office of the company in Mumbai. I do confirm that CEO of the company, Mr. R.G. Trasi, sitting next to me, a statutory.
I am Mr. Ramesh Trasi, joining this meeting from corporate office of Ratan Shah.
Our internal auditor, Mr. S.M. Bhandarkar, representing Bhandarkar and Kale, are also present in this meeting through video conference. We have the requisite quorum present through video conferencing to conduct the proceedings of the meeting. The quorum being present, I call the meeting to order on behalf of the chair. The register of members, register of directors shareholding, other statutory register and minutes book are available for members' inspection. Any member seeking to inspect these documents can send his request by an email to secretarial@ratansha.com. I shall now guide the members regarding general instruction to participate and vote in this AGM. The company had provided remote e-voting facility to all the members entitled to cast their vote on all resolutions mentioned in the notice. Members who have still not voted on their resolution and who are participating in the meeting will have opportunity to cast their votes through e-voting system by clicking on the e-voting tab displayed below their respective screens. The e-voting system will be kept open for further 30 minutes after the conclusion of this AGM. In case any member faces any difficulty, they may reach out the helpline numbers provided by CDSL. If any member faces any streaming issues, such as audio or video loss or buffering of video during the course of the meeting, then he can re-log in into the system to ensure better connectivity. And now I would request the chairman, Mr. Kisan R. Chokshi, to deliver the chairman's speech.
Dear valued shareholders of RII, good afternoon, everyone. It is great honor and privilege for me to address all of you on behalf of the board of directors, and I am delighted to welcome all the shareholders at the 54th general meeting.
And we need to be at 3:45.
Is it too late?
You can stand.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a great honor and privilege for me to address all of you on behalf of the board of directors, and I am delighted to welcome all the shareholders at the 54th Annual General Meeting of your company. This being fourth successive year, we are meeting and interacting with our shareholders through virtual AGM being held through video conferencing. Your presence in this important meeting is the testimony of your strong support and faith in our success, and this inspires us to achieve newer milestones. We have entered this new decade where online and virtual meetings have become order of the day. Virtual communication has been the part of our daily lives, and it has changed the way we interact and communicate with people. Technologically, we have also entered a decade where power electronics will be the major economic driver for make in India for the global market, as well as supporting Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our company is poised to be driver in this goal with our existing product line, silicon, next generation silicon carbide technology and innovations. It gives me great sense of honor and pride, and I am happy to inform you that that company's performance during the financial year 22-23 was good, and we have reported decent set of numbers. The company's semiconductor devices and export business grew at a steady pace, thereby reporting overall growth of 35% in the top line. Our bottom line increased by more than 2 times in comparison to the previous year, mainly on account of better cost controls, improved product mix, prudent financial management, and optimum utilization of fixed overheads. Having posted good set of numbers for year 2022-23 and on account of achieving decent profits during the year, the board of directors have recommended a dividend of rupees 1.50 per share for the approval of the members in this 54th AGM. Total outflow on account of the dividend payment will be rupees 104 lakhs. Doing profitable business, maintaining financial stability, and creating wealth for the shareholders has always been the motto of your company. Coming to the outlook for the current financial year, I would like to state that we have maintained stable progress in our business in the first quarter of this financial year, that is June 23. During the first quarter, your company has reported turnover of 13.87 crores as compared to 12.11 crores in June 22 last year, thereby reporting a growth of 15% year on year. The bottom line of the company also improved during the quarter, and your company reported profit after tax of rupees 1.56 lakhs in June 23 as compared to 116 lakhs last year for the same quarter. We are hopeful to carry on this momentum for the years to come, and you will witness better growth and improvement in the performance of the company for the financial year 23-24. I would now request our Secretary Bhavin to proceed with the further business of the AGM.
Sir, we have few more pages, sir, just check.
We have one more page,
We have one more page,
one or two.
couple of pages. Kishan bhai, we have a couple of pages.
The company secretary to invite Dr. Mehta to address the shareholders. The company secretary to consider notice of the meeting as read with the
Kishan bhai, okay. I'll just read out.
Yeah.
That is line.
We'll just continue the speech. We are hopeful to carry on this momentum throughout this decade.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
There is further statement. The company has seen a jump in its exports due to Russia-Ukraine war and the China Plus One story playing out across the globe. Your company is in the prime position to take advantage of this and has put its trust on exports. The present scenario, there are longer lead times and the delivery schedule to supply semiconductor devices by our competitors. However, we are in a sweet spot and able to deliver the wide range of semiconductor devices quickly due to our system of procuring raw materials well in advance. Our growth momentum in equipment division was affected in FY 22-23, but we have quickly recovered and our customers are positively responding with the increased order inflows. We are strengthening our foothold in the power equipment business and are hopeful of better performance in the current year. Now let me highlight some of the operational accomplishments during the year which would not have been possible without your support. 1. Design, manufactured and supply 40V6000A SCR based rectifier for ARC melting process to nuclear fuel complex. During this year, your company has successfully designed and manufactured and supplied 45V6000A 12-pulse SCR-based rectifier for ARC melting process. This rectifier is supplied to nuclear fuel complex through indigenized R&D efforts of the company, thereby assisting import substitution of similar rectifiers supplied by Germany. This development is a stepping stone to our country's vision of becoming Atmanirbhar Bharat. 2. Design and manufactured 176V 8900A SCR-based rectifier for chlorination process. During this year, your company has successfully designed and manufactured 176V 8900A SCR-based rectifier for electrochlorination process. This rectifier will be installed at one of the biggest electrochlorination plants set up by Nuclear Power Corporation. Developed inverter for cooling fan to be fitted in power rectifier. DETC for supply to Indian Railway. During this year, your company has achieved successful backward integration in indigenously developing inverter board suitable for AC fan for our product line called Power Rectifier. DETC, which is supplied to Indian Railway. With the development, we have eliminated the dependency on imported BLDC fan, industrial grade, and also achieved cost reduction up to 50% for the similar item. Secured order for 5KA rectifier from IPR, that is Institution of Plasma Research. During this year, your company has successfully secured developmental order for supply of 500V 5KA rectifier used in magnet coils application to confine plasma. With successful implementation of said project, we will be considered to cater to global requirements of magnet coils confinement application up to 60 KA. Secured order for pulse power switching from ARDE. During the year, your company has successfully secured developmental order of pulse power switching with semiconductor devices of 125 mm chips. RIR has submitted a silicon carbide ecosystem development proposal to the government of India as well as the state of Orissa. During the year, your company has submitted a silicon carbide proposal with worth 500 crores for the capex subsidy with MEITY, Government of India and State of Orissa. To conclude my speech, I would like to state at RIR, we have always viewed challenges as opportunities that allow us to raise the bar for ourselves and fine-tune our strategies for growth, as we have the technical capabilities to deliver world-class semiconductor products. We are now standing at the cusp of new era and paradigm shift towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our Honorable Electronics Minister, Mr. Ashwin Vaishnav, considers power electronics to be the most economical and beneficial technology for the country, including silicon carbide ecosystem, supporting transportation, energy, and renewable sectors. With global demand shift from conventional fuels to alternate energy and electrification, we foresee ample opportunities for growth in semiconductor industry and are now looking towards the further and now looking towards the future with a greater confidence, a stronger balance sheet and heightened optimism. The quality, durability of our products and organized business structure will help us to grow today and tomorrow. I am grateful to my colleagues on the board for their valuable guidance and contribution towards the steering the company on the path of sustainable growth, and to all the employees of RIR for their untiring efforts in the service of the company. Last but not the least, I convey my thanks to all the shareholders of the company for their faith and support, which motives us to excel in all our pursuits and constantly create value for all the stakeholders. I hope with utmost sincerity that in coming years you will see RIR scaling greater heights. Thank you. I would request Mr. Bhavin P. Ramya, Company Secretary, to proceed with the further business of the AGM.
Thank you, Kishan sir, for your wonderful speech and sharing with us latest update and development of the company. Before we move further, I would request Mr. Kaushal Mehta, Independent Director of the company, to introduce himself before the members. Over to you, Kaushal. Kaushal, you are on mute. Host, can you unmute Kaushal?
Sir, we have sent the request of unmuting.
Okay. I will request Bhavna Mehta, Chairperson and Managing Director of the company, to introduce herself before the members. Madam, you are on mute. Madam, you are on mute. Yeah.
I'm really happy to be with everyone on this.
Madam, can you speak loudly? I think your voice is not audible. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, little bit. Can you just be loud?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
So, I'm good to be here on the 54th AGM meeting with all of you. I really enjoyed listening to Mr. Choksi.
Yes.
If you have any question for me, I know that Dr. Mehta will give all the answers, but if you have anything for me, please let me know.
Mr. Kaushal Mehta, Independent Director of the company. I will request you to introduce yourself before the members.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kaushal Mehta. I'm an independent director of the company, and I'm currently joining from my office in Mumbai. Thank you.
Thank you. I do confirm that statutory auditors of the company, Mr. Aditya Kanetkar, representing Kirtan and Patel, Chartered Accountant, is also present in this meeting through video conference. I would now like to invite Dr. Harshad Mehta to address himself before the shareholders of the company. Over to you, Harshad, sir.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I really appreciate everyone's participation, interest, advice, especially the board members, especially Kishan Bhai, Praveen Bhai, and all of them keeps me in check because I like to, I'm very optimist, an entrepreneur. I like to look at new opportunities and they take time to recover or return on investment, and they keep me in check to make sure that we are finding the good balance between everything. So thank you very much to board member Kishan Bhai and everyone else. I also, on behalf of all of us, want to congratulate Mr. Trasi and his team. I think they have done a remarkable job every year for last 2-3 years, even in the situation where we are resource limited and keep on pushing our envelope in terms of our target for monthly revenue that results into growth at the yearly level. So thank you very much, Mr. Trasi and his team, Mr. Bhavin, and keeping sure everything is properly we manage and stay within full compliance. So thank you very much. I will answer the questions, and I have read through all of them, and I am really thank you because of the fact that I think it tells me that the investors are doing their own research in terms of looking at what's happening globally, what is RIR doing, what is RIR strength, what is RIR weaknesses, and I'm very thank you for that. And what my plan is right now is to address on a kind of a macro level, give you overview of 3 segments. One, what present product and market RIR is pursuing. Second, we'll look at what are our opportunities in terms of 3 verticals, which is low power devices, high power devices, and equipment. That's our present business. I'll also touch base on our next phase of RIR, which goes into compound semiconductor, usually called silicon carbide, gallium nitride, and so forth. And after 4 years, I'm happy that Government of India had recognized that they were kind of encouraging billions of dollars of investment in silicon for last 4 years for very advanced technology nodes globally. However, now they are focusing on, they call niche market, compound semiconductor, power electronics between one of them. And I do feel that seems to be the lowest hanging fruit. And when I had a talk with Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, that's what first thing he said. He felt power electronics is the lowest hanging fruit for India. And I do believe it. And I'm looking forward for the Government of India to support it in the next plan of their policy. So let me, as I mentioned, the business has 3 verticals. I have also requested Majid to give an overview about what we do, because I do want to make sure that our investors are educated. At least we try to educate them as much as we can of what we do, why we do, and what are the opportunities as we go forward. So you can look at, or when you read the newspaper and look at green hydrogen, many of the people may not connect RIR can play a significant role in green hydrogen, but we can, and we are. So I just want to make sure that we understand that, not in a dreamland, in actual our opportunities that lie ahead us. So the low power devices has been in the commodity business has been the same present form, function, everything else for last 35 to 40 years. And what happens is at some point, the market reaches saturation. And this has happened in the low power devices. However, you have seen, and many of you have asked the question that how come we are experiencing growth? And the reason for that is the number of suppliers globally in this commodities sector is getting limited. Many people are going out of the business. There are certain geopolitical constraints and so forth. So where we are looking at and why we see opportunities that A, we have very good quality reputation globally, and B, we are still making those commodity components and we'll continue to make that. We have no plans of exiting that. And Mr. Trasi was here for last month and a half and has contacted a lot of US companies in terms of distributors and so forth to make sure that we continue to maintain steady pace in terms of growth for those particular products. And Mr. Trasi can probably discuss a little bit more. Our high power devices segment is what we introduced, we meaning Silicon Power. When we acquired RIR, we introduced our high power segment as well as part of the equipment on a rectifier side to Ratan Shah. And that business, I feel, will continue to see a significant growth. One of the things I would like to mention that what we do is a niche applications in high power semiconductors, but it is semiconductors. Silicon based so far. Going forward, we'll be doing silicon carbide because there are a lot of commonalities, not distinct, totally distinct business model. There are a lot of commonality in terms of the applications, customer reliability understanding, application understanding, as well as knowledge base. So we will leverage those, all our silicon-based knowledge base for last 25, 30 years into accelerating silicon carbide technology as well as gallium nitride technology in India for global applications. So I think having said that, few things I like to mention, and as I said, I want to educate, and I was planning to make that as a first beginning, but I kind of, so what we do is power. Power on a physics basis is a multiplication of what the voltage is and what the current is. So if anyone talks about power, power in general is voltage and current. Now, if you want higher voltage, you have to series connect individual components where what you want to be. And if you want higher current, you have to parallel connect all of those components to get maximum current. So with that, remember what we do, power electronics is you hear all the what I call alphabet soup in terms of SCR, IGBT, MOS, and in my mind, they are all alphabet soup. We are trying to make building block. The building block they can convert from AC to DC, which is called rectifier, and a building block that can convert from DC to AC, which is called inverter. And that's what we do. So fundamentally, we are in the power electronic building block I call macroprocessor. And just like microprocessor changed the communication, computation, computers, lot of automation in the industry, I think the era of power processor is just beginning. And power processor has significant economic benefit as well as significant economic potential globally. And we are very much in the part of it. Though we are resource limited, we are technologically, we are second to none globally. And I keep on pushing our technology envelope as well as our reliability and manufacturing envelope as well. My must for myself as well as I try to push as much all of you, MUST is what we need in a simple word, is manufacturable, usable, sellable technology. We are not here for world record. We want to make products that customers use. We want to make products that customers can find applications, value, and we can make those products on a repeated basis, make money as well. We are for profit for all of you and for all of us. So we want to pursue that. Lastly, I want to also kind of address we are a public company and we have about 8,000 shareholders today. And out of that 8,000 shareholders, only 6,400 have dematted their securities. And that limits our volume in the market. And that's why you see all kinds of ASM restrictions, which I'm beginning to understand. Sometimes plus minus 2%, sometimes plus minus 5%, sometimes trading only one day. And I think I encourage all of the investors to please demat their shares as much as they can. So customers can or investors can look at our true value. Right now, we hear all the time that yes, a share is where it is, but the volume is very low. The volume is low for reasons. We own 70%, and we are closely limited. We are not, trading. We're still not trading in a major way, but sometimes we want to at least increase the trading volume, and that's why we will trade to at least have liquidity in the market. We still about 93% of the shares what we have are dematted, and as I said, we own, promoter group owns about 72 or 73%, and we are trying to make sure that with our action, we provide the opportunity for Ratan Shah's value for investors to grow. And that's what you would see. And I request you to please demat your shares as much as you can, and at least let the volume true value reflect with the trading volume and so forth. So I think with that, I would either answer question now or answer question later. But one of the things I would like to do would be to understand our product, and most importantly, the applications going forward today and opportunity. What, as I mentioned, the words you hear, renewables, words you hear, green hydrogen, words you hear, silicon carbide, electric vehicle revolution, all of this. I just make one point. Physics-wise, there are a lot of differences, but I'm not here to go through the physics. Simple. Silicon carbide application in electric car can provide 20% extra range with the same kind of battery and everything else. And that's what people are looking for how can we keep extending the electric vehicle range so we don't have to stop more often for charging. One of the product that we have been working is a high-speed charger. So when you charge the car, you don't have to wait hour and a half or 2 hours, but you can fully charge in 30 minutes. So those are the kinds of things power electronics can provide the opportunities. Power electronics requires significant knowledge, technology, reliability, people, commitment, and all of those we have for last 25, 30 years. Second point I would like to make, power electronics products from customer perspective are there for 20 to 25 years, not just 1 or 2 years like we see cell phones and iPads and laptops. So with that, I think I'll wait to answer any particular questions when we get a chance. Bhavin, go ahead, please.
Sir, can we ask Majid to start screen share and start the presentation?
Yeah, so I am requesting Majid at least because I had done this presentation. Majid has done a good job internally for the board about 3-4 weeks ago. And the idea is that we want to make sure that we educate our advisors, board members, we educate our customers, and most importantly, we educate our investors.
Over to you, Majid. You can start with the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And thank you, Bhavin. Good evening, all. Myself, Majid Khan, and currently I'm located in RIR corporate office. So I will just share the presentation screen. Just confirm me when you see the screen. Bhavin, can you just confirm me?
Yeah, we can see the presentation.
Yeah. So yeah, I can start now. As Dr. Mehta stated that.
Majid, can you do full screen? Can you?
Yeah,
do full
just a second.
Yeah. Now it's full screen.
Okay, now it is fine, I think so.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So the cusp of any industry is the power supply, either AC or DC. So the power equipment or power devices, what RIR is going into is power conversion from AC to DC, DC to AC, or power conditioning from AC to AC or DC to DC. So that is the main cusp of all the industry and the cusp of our product, either into the semiconductor devices or the equipment. So in a nutshell, we have bifurcated our product line into 3 major categories, that is low power devices, high power devices, and equipment. With a various range from the smallest to the highest capacity, we are catering to the almost all the power conversion or power conditioning industry like welding, elevators, drives, battery chargers, railways, printing machines, medical equipments. These are the industries which requires a low power devices. And renewable industries, furnace industries, APFC industries, railways, and defense sectors. This requires a high power devices which RIR is indigenously manufactured, and right now it is the only one Indian manufacturer in India. And with this, both this technology, low power devices and high power devices, we are catering to the equipment application, ranging from various applications from hydrogenation, electrochlorination, electroplating, electrocleaning, plasma heating, induction furnace, defense, railways, cathodic protection, and many more. So these are our vertical integration. Means we are manufacturing from small semiconductor devices to assembly stacks, and the equipment like battery chargers and power rectifiers to various process industries, as well as various development projects in the terms of a high current and IGBT based rectifier. Future application catering to silicon carbide is electrical vehicle, industrial application, electrical grid, data center, defense, and R&D is the major thing, and obviously the renewable, which is the go-to word right now in our country. Highlighting our equipment division, the main USP and the highlight of this our equipment division is we are the only one manufacturing company for semiconductor devices, and we are manufacturing our own devices for our equipment. And in terms of application for electrochlorination and hydrogenation, which is an electrolysis process, till date we have supplied almost 300 units, which comprise the total power capacity of 30 megawatt. In terms of current capacity, we have supplied up to 16 kilo ampere, and we have the capacity to increase our manufacturing capability up to 50 kilo ampere. And similarly, in the voltage range, our voltage which we have manufactured till date is 550 volt, and we have the capacity to increase up to 1500 volt in terms of voltage. Now, green hydrogenation. The company is looking into the renewable sector. Green hydrogenation is one of the thing where the hydrogenation generation for industries, boilers, turbine, oil industries, or vehicle from a input source of green renewable. Our company RIR has already supplied for hydrogenation through grid. Now, in the complete gamut of green hydrogenation, RIR stands in the electrolysis where a DC supply in terms of voltage and current is required. So we come into the picture for this green hydrogenation in the electrolysis part of the rectifier. Currently, from the wind turbine, we are getting a DC, AC from AC source, which is as good as in a grid. So which we have already supplied, and we are regularly supplying almost more than 300 rectifiers. So we comes into the rectifier part for electrolysis, which requires a DC source. And similarly, from solar directly, there is a product called DC to DC converter. So RIR will come into the picture in that part for a green hydrogenation through electrolysis process. Mentioning some of the highlight or rectifier which we have already supplied is this. This is the 100 volt 3700 volt ampere for electrochlorination process. Again, this is a water electrolysis process, and hydrogenation and electrochlorination is a water electrolysis process. This is a 10,000 ampere for electrolysis we have supplied for defense project. This is another application in steel industries, 16 kilo ampere for electrocleaning line, which is used for all steel industries in cold roll mill. And this is a very niche product for NFC, nuclear fuel complex, which we have indigenously worked in parallel with NFC and supplied a plasma heating application DC source to generate to maintain the plasma through a DC source, and similarly an arc melting through a DC source. Apart from hydrogenation and electrochlorination, our company RIR has already supplied to various other applications like electroplating, EDPR, cathodic protection, plasma heating, and chlorination. Apart from our standard product, we have also supplied to many railways. We have also supplied to many railways equipment like under coach rectifier, substation, and developed an IGBT based rectifier. Similar to the equipment, we are catering to the assembly and stack parts also, where the application like drive industries, which requires stack, which need to be cater from input to output, AC to DC. And in terms to catering all this equipment for various application, we have indigenously developed our own DSP based controller, which again gives us a major boost in terms of USP as compared to other competitor, which they are using an analog controller or a digital controller exporting from outside. In a nutshell, this was the brief of our product from semiconductor devices to equipment. Thank you all.
Thank you, Madhu, for your wonderful presentation and helping our investors educate and understand the company's diverse product range and its industrial applications. Thank you.
There is need to increase the visibility of our company and company's products. I think we should cover half-page advertisement in the paper and make the people know that what is RIR and what is the background of the company and the capability of the company.
Yeah, sure, sir. I think Harshad sir has taken this positively, and that's why he has already included this presentation so that our investors can understand the various product line of the company and its application in various fields.
I think that's excellent advice, Kishan Bhai, and we'll definitely follow it up. I am leading that effort and pushing team as well as help from others, including your Rajiv Bhai and other people, to get us make sure people understand what we do and make it visible, because we do a lot. I consider RIR just like Silicon Power and Sycamore as a diamond in the rough, and we need to shine that diamond, and that's where we need help from everyone else to make it shine. We have the capability, we have the purity, we have all of the C's of diamond, but we just diamond in the rough. And this is where we are hoping to get the support to make sure we people globally recognize our true value. I appreciate your advice, Kishan Bhai.
Thank you.
Basically, what I suggest that tomorrow we should give the financial result published in the newspaper along with a small note about the products of the company.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. We'll work on it. Bhavin, make sure what we put together before anything goes out.
Yeah, sure. We shall now move ahead with the AGM proceedings. As the notice is already being circulated among the members along with the annual report, with the consent of the members, I take the notice convening the meeting as read. The statutory auditors have expressed an unqualified opinion with respect to standalone and consolidated auditors report for the financial year 22-23. There are no qualification or observation on the financial statement. With the consent of members, I take the independent auditors report as read. We shall now take up the resolutions as set forth in the notice of this meeting. I shall only read out the descriptions of the resolution contained in the notice, and then we can have question answer feedback from the speaker members. Members may kindly note that there won't be any proposing or seconding of resolution, nor any voting done by show of hands. The first resolution is to receive, consider, and adopt standalone and consolidated audited financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 23, together with the report of Board of Directors and auditors thereof. The second resolution is declaration of dividend of rupees 1 rupee 50 paise per equity share for the financial year ended 31st March 23. The third resolution is for reappointment of Mrs. Bhavna Arshad Mehta as a director who retires by rotation and being eligible offers herself for reappointment. The fourth resolution is to reclassify the authorized share capital of the company and consequent alteration of memorandum of association of the company. The fifth resolution is to approve alteration of capital clause in the articles of association of the company. The sixth resolution is to consider appointment of Dr. Madhav Mandrekar as non-executive independent director of the company for a term of 5 consecutive years. The company has received 6 speaker requests from the members to speak at this meeting. I will request the host to kindly unmute first speaker, Mr. Anil Babubhai Mehta, having DPID and client ID ending with 10127907. Mr. Anil Mehta.
Sir, he is not available in this meeting.
Okay, so we can take the second speaker, Mr. Sanjay Kumar E, having DPID and client ID 0495258, and allow him to speak at the meeting. Host, kindly check with us Mr. Sanjay Kumar is available.
Yes, sir. Sanjay sir.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I've already mailed my questions. I'll just briefly touch upon the important ones. So we've grown 35% previous financial year and 14% in Q1 of this year. What is the revenue outlook for the existing RIR business? I'm not talking about SIC, just the existing business. And what's the FY23 growth because of companies building inventory to protect themselves from shortages? Or is it a structural thing like Harshad sir said, companies are exiting the low power devices, so we're getting more business. And also in exports, we are supplying to some new customers like ABB, D-Win Industrial, Leno Energy Systems, Dara Electric. So how did we win these orders? And for what application are we supplying these products for? Or who are these companies buying from earlier? Is it from China? Now we are presenting ourselves as an alternate opportunity. And in exports, Harshad sir did mention that Sashi sir traveled to US recently. So what will be the outlook for exports in the next few years? Will it continue to grow going forward? And equipment segment, who are our clients? So there was a mention of us supplying 30 rectifiers in green hydrogen. So who were the clients for these 30 rectifiers? And what will be the rough market size of our rectifiers across? So we are selling to Indian Railways, we are selling to a lot of other companies. So what will be the rough market size for these rectifiers? And in rectifiers, do we compete with Hind Rectifiers, which is another listed company? Or if not, who's our competition in India for the equipment divisions? Also, we spoke about battery chargers. Is it for EV application? And finally, on IGBT, so I was told that we are importing IGBT from Star Power because we are their authorized distributors. Why only Star Power? And can we not distribute other major semiconductor companies' products in India? Also, do we plan to make these IGBTs in-house in RIR going forward? We also seem to be importing chips from ANO Technology and few more companies. Are we distributing these products, or is it for internal captive use? Also, do we plan to make these chips in-house going forward? These are broadly my questions, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, for your question. I'll just answer the question in the phase which you had given the questionnaire. The first question was, what is driving the strong growth in sales? FY23 we grew, and in Q1 we grew at 14%. Will this growth continue in next few years? We have been witnessing a pickup of demand in semiconductor devices, both domestically and internationally. So this is the main reason for growth in past couple of years. And our sales outlook for the next few years is positive, and we expect to grow in double digits in the coming years. In your next question, you had asked, our company is exiting low power devices, which is opening opportunities for us. And will we continue to manufacture? So our answer is yes, we'll continue to manufacture and supply low power devices as there is adequate demand for this product. The third question which you asked was with respect to exports. I will just answer that we have an active presence online through our website and internet to cater to business and sales needs. And moreover, several international companies are approaching us for our product, and we are happy to serve them. We do not confirm or deny any of the names quoted by you during your conversation. In exports, you are asked, in exports, are we looking to add more clients? Please give us the outlook for exports in next few years. So our reply will be that we are happy to add new clients on export fronts. We expect our export business to be a growth driver in coming years. In the equipment segment, you had asked about the client list. I will broadly say that we are selling our products in equipment or power equipment to railways, power plants, and various government undertakings. The next question which you had asked was, how big can IGBT-based rectifier battery charger become? See, IGBT-based rectifier is a promising market and which we are attempting to increase the stake. You had asked for the application part of our rectifier. I think the Majid has already covered this application part of rectifier in his presentation, and our annual report also, the colored pages mentioned at the start of the report, mentioned the application, product application for rectifier. So you can just check through those pages. You had also asked, do you compete with Hind rectifiers? No, we do not compete with Hind rectifier. In fact, we supply our semiconductor devices to them for their domestic requirements. The question which you had asked is, who are your competitors in India? No Indian manufacturer basically manufactures semiconductor devices. We face competition from global players in semiconductors like Infineon, Vishay, PowerX, Semicon, Distribution. The next question which you had asked was, I think we are importing IGBT from Star Power. Can we not distribute other major semiconductor companies' products? See, basically, Star Power products are more reliable and we have long-term relationship with them. Other major companies are already having their established dealership and distributorship in India. The next question which you had asked was, can we not make IGBT in-house? Do we plan to do it in future? Yeah, we will plan it in future. In the first phase, right now, we are focusing on SiC silicon carbide based business, and then we will evaluate regarding in-house IGBT manufacturing. The next question which you had asked was, we seem to be importing chips from Yenio and few more companies. Are we distributing these products or it is for internal use? See, we are importing chips for internal consumption. And do we plan to make chips in-house? Yeah, we are already manufacturing in-house chips for certain rated devices. The next question which you had asked was, what new products are we developing that can be launched in next few years? See, SiC is one of the biggest products for us, which is in development stage right now. We are also developing rectifier equipment for green hydrogen project. The other questions which you had asked, I will request Trasi sir to reply them. Mr. Sanjay ji had asked, okay, what is the market size of rectifiers? We had asked, what is the total market size? What is the total market size of it?
You want it in Indian percentage-wise? At present, whatever the rectifiers which we have developed and what Majid has given the display, we have made up to 300 units of this thing comprising of 30 megawatt. Actually, now the green hydrogen system which is used rectifier, because rectifier is used in many applications, such as for hydro generation, it can be used for battery charging, it can be used for electroplating and the thing. Our concentration for last 3-4 years is now to continue to work on making green hydrogen as one of our stakes. So at present, if you ask for green hydrogen in India, we have supplied up to 1 megawatt unit around maybe around 40%. There is a large market is developing, and we will be trying to quote in that particular thing going forward from 1 megawatt to 10 megawatt. And then we will go from 10 megawatt to 20 megawatt. Rectifier, yes, for plating and other thing, we are the only people who are making it because, of course, we are not in railway rectifiers as on today, because our main concentration was there, because railway requires most of the equipments which are of electrical nature. We are more concentrating on component which we are established to manufacture. Recently, we have also developed some of the product with SPCO technology that can be helped to go in for defense. Once these all details thing, we can give it to you once the project is rolled out.
Sir, his last question was regarding the competition for rectifiers in India.
The competition in rectifier, of course, as you mentioned, the name is established is Hind Rectifier, but they will be doing most of the railway equipment, which are more electrical, like AC motors and the converters for the controlling the AC motor. And they are also trying to come in for hydro generation. But we have a leading edge there because we have a good DSP controller developed already. And we are going to make our own product of SCR. Of course, we are also will be supplying to Hind Rectifier as per their requirement. But since we have the basic component manufacturing facility in Ratancha, the competition will be there and we'll face for it. Of course, there will be some competition from some foreign companies. We'll have to look into it, how to come out of to make that our product competitive and reliable.
I just want to add a few things, Bhavin. You asked about IGBT manufacturing, and that is a good point. And what I try to do is I look at an equipment or investment that can do more than just one technology or one product. So when we look at silicon carbide processing equipment, whether it's 100 millimeter or 150 millimeter, it is equally capable of doing IGBTs, and we intend to do that. My business model, our business model is tried to be on a side where we have fewer competitors, higher return of investment, and modest investment. So we will not go into high volume, high capex kind of equipment business, but we would stay within our niche or a sweet spot, which would be 2500 volt and above for railways, for energy applications, as well as and lower power, low power IGBT. We will continue to work with strategic suppliers globally, because that can add the economies of scale and provide us highly economically competitive product globally. Second, on the competition, I think it's good to have competition. If we are the only one making product, it's very difficult. I have been there. If I'm the only sole source, I have to fight with every global manufacturers to make my product visible. So our having competition, and we don't want too much. What we want is stay ahead of the competition. This is what we are doing with leveraging our internal capability of vertical integration, such as control. Control becomes a very critical part of any power electronic systems. Control and components, both together, gives us a significant advantage in terms of what we can do. And people, as you have seen, many, they buy semiconductor because it's not the easy product to make in-house. It requires a lot of investment, as well as tremendous amount of technology and expertise. But I remember one of the avatar from one of the ex-Tata president, his avatar said, semicon is hard. Semiconductor is hard, meaning, material property wise, or hard financially, or hard technologically. But semicon is hard. And the hard is what we are after, because that controls the entire ecosystem and performance.
Thank you, Ashok sir. I think we have answered all the questions of Mr. Sanjay. We'll move on to the next speaker. I will request the
Can you
host to
ask?
kindly.
Can you ask Sanjay? Can you ask Sanjay if we have left
Yeah.
anything that he hasn't heard?
Mr. Sanjay, can you just confirm?
Yes, Bhavin, all my questions have been answered. Thanks a lot, Sashi sir and Harshit sir.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to the next speaker, Mr. Sahil Sharma, having DPID and client ID 093111510. I will request the host to kindly unmute Mr. Sahil Sharma if he is present and allow him to speak at the meeting.
Sir, Sahil sir is not joined.
Okay, so we'll move on with the next speaker, Mr. Manhar Rao Yadav, DPID and client ID 4996437. I will request the host to kindly unmute him and allow him to speak at the meeting.
Manar sir, please unmute yourself. We have to send a request for unmute.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, so good evening to all, and thank you for the opportunity. So I have basically given all my questions on the mail, so if they can be answered. Just one question I have to add here is, we are saying that we'll grow at double digit, but when I see one of the interview of Mr. Harshad Mehta, he has said that we would do around $300 billion of revenue in next 5 years. So that would be a triple digit, growth, not a double digit. So just a clarification on this. And also, if the questions of Sahil Sharma can be answered, he has not been able to. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think will mail his questions to him. But I think we can answer your questions. I'll just read out the question which you have sent, and I will request Harshad sir to answer the question. Harshad sir, Mr. Manhar Rao Yadav had few sets of questions regarding silicon carbide. I will request you to answer them. He had also mentioned that he is great admirer of Harshad Mehta. The first question which he had asked was, the demand for SiC in our country is going to be huge, and to cater that, we will be importing SiC. Now, if I see top 10 players, just to name a few, like Infineon Tech, Wolfspeed, ROHM, ST Microelectronics, all of them are doing capex.
Bhavin, I have his hard copy. I can read it, so that's better.
Yeah, but for shareholders also.
Oh, okay, sure. Sorry. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like Infineon, Wolfspeed, ROHM, ST Microelectronics, all of them are doing capex for anywhere between $1 billion to $7 billion. So how are we going to compete with them in the domestic or international market on cost basis?
So I think thank you very much, Yadavji, Manoharavji. I appreciate your. People say, and I call myself the true. I'm not the smart one. There are many smart people, brilliant people globally. What I'm looking for and what my business foundation is our typical, few very old saying, which I still believe, even though I'm 71-year-old. One of the things has been saying that extend your leg as much we have sheet to cover it. So we try to stay within our resources. We try to do as best as we can to manage from bottom line. And in that process, what we try to do is and you mentioned many different bigger competitors, and I'm going to address them because they are real competitors. They are real competitors. And I don't know what example I can give you, but we are trying to find our own sweet spot, which is medium power and high power. All the competitors you mentioned, Infineon, Wolfspeed, ST, Cree, all of them, they are going after, relatively speaking, lower power 1200 volt silicon carbide devices, which is primarily be the market volume driven for electric car. And there, even though there are 5 or 6 competitors, they are investing about $1 billion, maybe $5 billion in their facility. Goes into 8-inch diameter, 200 millimeter, and silicon is going already up to 12 inches. That particular business segment, my understanding is it's about 8 to 10 years before you see any profit with that investment. because it's not the significant capex, it's how to fill it. One of the person here, and I think it's just met him. He said is 1x to build the fab, is 10x to find the people, and it's 100x to find the customers. And that is difficult when you are trying to do competing with big corporations. So what we have done all along, RIR or Silicon Power, we are very few competitors. Our competitors from high power segment, value added perspective are ABB, Siemens, Infineon, Toshiba, Mitsubishi, and so forth. But we try to have a vertical integration capability where we add value for our customers every step of the way. We work with them, not as a supplier vendor, but we work with them as a partner to see how can we make their product globally competitive and reliable. So that is, I think, one of the strengths that we are trying to bring into it because of our vertical integration. And second, what we have done at RIR is I had a silicon fab, very similar to an older fab in Pennsylvania, where in 2002 or 2004, that fab was vintage 1982. In 2002, my people in the US said, we just need to junk everything, throw everything is used and cannot be productively we cannot see any productive part of it. I am Indian, we are all Indian, and one of the things, even including government of India, I think forgets sometimes, is what's in our DNA. Our DNA is extend the life of an asset to its last mile, maybe more. That's what we always do. If we try to not, before we make any investment, we want to make sure, the car we have, can it go where it's supposed to go? Most of the people I'm not talking about richest of the richest. They may have 12 cars, but I'm talking in general population. That's in our DNA, and that helps. So when we transported the silicon fab from Pennsylvania to Halol, I'm proud to say that the equipment that US people said should be thrown are still being used at RIR. And they are not only being used at RIR only for Indian market. RIR and under Trasi's leadership, we have provided product made at Halol for US Department of Defense. So the idea is to be frugal, keep on looking for opportunities where we keep on adding value. And so that's why my goal has always been be second to none technologically. Financially, we may be last, and that's okay. And the second thing I believe in, doing what the best we can do. And that's why I think the question that you asked for the revenues and so forth, I want to do the best I possibly can. That's one of the fundamental teachings of Gita. And results may wherever they may be. As it's hard to project 5 years out, it's even hard to project tomorrow. There's so much uncertainty globally in a business, geopolitically, and so many things. And we have witnessed that. We have witnessed that in the last 4 or 5 years, as a matter of fact.
We'll move on to his next question, which is
Manoj, did I answer your question? Anything?
Yeah, sir, he has multiple set of questions. So
Okay.
We'll move on to his next question, in which he's referring that in one of the interviews, we said that we will not want to enter the smaller node size like 7 mm, 24 mm. With the amount of capex being done around the world, especially for 200 mm, 300 mm, do you think that 150 mm will no longer be niche category? And is the market for 150 mm or 200 mm different? If yes, if you could please give few examples and explain.
I think that's a intuitive question in terms of what you hear. And as I mentioned, there are semiconductors. There's a silicon semiconductor, which is a major part of most of the global application. Then there's silicon carbide and gallium nitride and so forth. Silicon has been most mature technology from materials perspective. And in semiconductor, the starting, whatever you call starting material, wafer, no matter how you say it, that is the biggest foundation in terms of the defect-free highest possible purity called electronic grade starting material. And those plants are quite capital intensive because of the fact that process semiconductor requires ultra pure substrate. And if you look at the diameter that you mentioned, 150 millimeter, 200 millimeter, and even higher, silicon was going up to 12-inch diameter. So 300 millimeter. If you look at the challenge, now you have the entire area of the semiconductor. The manufacturing perspective, the challenge is the entire area of that semiconductor surface has to be defect-free and ultra pure. That is not easy to get done. Now I'm going to talk about our industry. High power silicon, even another challenge because of the fact that it requires even 10 orders of magnitude purity in terms of starting material. And it's the second point is, if the general semiconductor devices, the thickness of the substrate is mostly another epi layer, which is about 20 micron or 30 micron. The power devices are as high as 1500 micron. So now you're adding another dimension that the entire volume of the wafer has to be clean. So from that perspective, the state of the art for power semiconductor silicon is right now maximum 150 millimeter. And even we can get 200 millimeter is very difficult and not able to find commercially viable those kinds of wafers. So I think our sweet spot from the perspective of the sector we are in, high power semiconductor, 150 millimeter will still remain to be a major market driven. There may be some captive suppliers you mentioned, for example, in Wolfspeed, Cree, ST Micro, and other people, for their own, trying to leverage their own device production cost and capabilities. They may grow 8-inch or 200 millimeter silicon carbide substrate for their own, and they also will make arrangement with other people as well to do the supply. For example, Wolfspeed has made a long-term contract with ST to supply them 200 millimeter silicon carbide wafers. There are significant technical challenges from the materials to the processing of devices. And of course, the reward is high volume, lower manufacturing cost. But all of this is, we can achieve it, but not now. We are hardly getting to a micro cap category of 500 crore, 400 crore company. All these companies are thousands and thousands of crore, and we will get there. I am hopeful that we will, and we keep our eye there. But one thing I will never pursue is any opportunity which is a longer than 4 or 5 year return on investment.
Sir, his next question was, is there any difference in quality between two manufacturers of SiC for the same node? I'm just trying to understand why would a customer buy SiC from you? I'm presuming on cost basis. It will be tough, so definitely we are banking on quality. Please enlighten.
So I think, first of all, when we talk, silicon carbide is not it's not part of all the glamour that you hear about different nodes, 7 nanometer, 12 nanometer, 28 nanometer. They are all for silicon devices. Silicon carbide, we make silicon carbide, and the node there is 1 micron, maybe 0.7 micron. So silicon carbide is not as complicated in terms of shrinking the sizes or making the nodes to be, as even thinner their hair. The performance, I think all the manufacturers will shoot for to make the product to their customer spec, and that is going to be the case. So I think when you look at it from one manufacturer to the other, would the product be different? And it won't be. The commercial spec would be same. The difference will happen in terms of which manufacturers can provide an extra level of value added contribution to their customer. For example, silicon carbide component you can buy from anyone else, But Ratan Shah, and we intend to, if we can provide our customer, how we can help them make driver for their silicon carbide, then that customer has to focus on what they are going to do, not how to look at how to drive the device and so forth. So our vertical integration capability is a significant competitive advantage in terms of helping customers, and then thus maintaining the customer relationship and keep on providing them value with quality is, I think, what will set us apart, in my opinion. Mr. Kasi, you can shine on it a bit more.
Yes, of course. What you said is true, that we are in power field. So, I mean, there are the voltages and other things. Definitely, we will be having made a dent in the market. So, once we start working as it is, we are aware that our Visicon is that reactor is just getting ready to getting pilot production done. So we will work out on this. 150 millimeter is a good size to start with to get into the business.
His next question was, we had applied for PLI and 50% of the cost is being borne by the government. So I have two questions here. Will this help us to sell our SIC at a discount in the market compared to a player who has borne all the cost or an imported SIC? If yes, then based on current scenario, can you please give a rough estimate what would the discount be in percentage terms?
I think we know the pricing is what customers and supplier agree on. And sometimes we make money, sometimes we lose money. So yes, government subsidies would definitely help us reduce our overhead manufacturing costs and so forth. And this is where I feel the question that you ask about large diameter wafer and so forth. This is what I feel, that in India, with the government subsidy, as well as our leveraging quality and economical cost of manufacturing, we will be competitive even at 150 millimeter fab, which is about 50 or 60 million investment, compared to 200 millimeter fab that Infineon is making in upstate New York, or Wolfspeed is making in upstate New York for $2 billion investment. So that is, I think, what I meant, that we have to find our approach, or our model, which we look at the common business sense. How can we make most money with least investment? And this was what we intend to do. Now, this government incentives will help. There are some pluses and minuses, but what I find with my silicon experience, that overall, we can achieve about 25 to 30% advantage in manufacturing cost by getting it done in India with a low overhead overall and so forth. Now, the PLI scheme will also fund 5% revenue-based incentive, and I think that would directly go to the bottom line. The point, I think, is that we don't know what the state of the market will be. We will have to be competitive, and we'll have to provide value to our customers, which is better than our competitor. Whether that value in terms of our technical support, our understanding of the application, and it may be all of them, including part of the 5% PLI we may provide as a discount to the customer. So it's all supply and demand. As you know, people, if you are the only game in town, you can get 300% profit on your product, and if they are customers. So I cannot tell you what discount we'll provide. We'll just have to look at the market condition. We have to look at our own supply and demand, how full our fab is, and because if the fab is not, let's say fab is only 70% full, then we can think about that extra 30% by filling that fab, as long as it can cover our variable cost, because our fixed cost is already covered in what we are doing. So I think those are the questions that we'll keep in mind. The ultimate goal is to be successful, provide value to the customer, and stay in a competitive mode in our sweet spot, which is medium and high power. I will be the first one to say that where we are today, we are going to we'll work with them to provide some extra features that we have on how to package those devices reliably for the electric vehicle application. But we will not go into actual manufacturing of high volume because we will not be, at least right now what we are planning, the investment are 1/10 of what other people are looking in, those who want to enter that market.
His next question was, since 50% is being funded by government, do you see your independence or autonomy being affected? Do you think that government will have an influence on you?
I think these are questions that is right question in terms of thinking about it, but I don't see any impediment to our independence by working with government and so forth. These are the incentives available to anyone who has the capability to set up manufacturing. Government, and whether government provides incentive or not, and I'm off the record, I used to be in kerosene business in 1973, 1974, which called essential commodity in Ratlam. And that was an emergency time. And being in that business, whether government provides you incentive or not, you are always somehow being influenced by government in some form or the other. You don't want to be in the wrong side of the government.
Sir, his last question was, do you even plan to sell SIC to the government? Maybe I think he's trying to convey SIC as a product to the government.
So I think when you talk about government is a huge conglomerate. You have federal government, they don't buy anything. Government has many government-controlled PSUs, they buy a lot of things. So we do provide to BHEL, for example, we do provide the product to many different people. In this particular sector, we do plan to work with aerospace, defense, mostly defense, because this is where government is a lot of doing things. Most of the grids, electric grids, are also government, public service, public PSUs and so forth. So yes, we would provide product to the government wherever it makes sense at all levels. If it's epitaxial, we will work at physics labs and so forth, those who are doing research and trying to use them. We want to make sure that we create and recover value and provide value to our shareholders at every opportunity.
Okay, Manhar Yadav, we presume we have answered your question. Can you just clarify whether all your questions have been answered? Mr. Manhar Yadav, can you just confirm whether your questions have been answered?
Yeah. Thank you very much for answering all the questions. I think those were very clear. If I just have one last request, I mean, keeping the time in mind, just one last question: that by when are we expecting the 1,000 crore capex to complete, and what is the peak revenue we can do with those 1,000 crore capex? And are we in contact with any domestic EV or OEMs about selling them in future? That's it, and thank you very much, and all the best for the future. Thank you.
Sure. So I think quickly, the 1,000 crore number, if you just hear Mr. Chok's speech, our proposal for the total project is 500 crores. And one of the questions you asked, would we get to 3-to-1 or 2-to-1? I expect to get 2-to-1 from that 500 crore in about maybe 5 to 6 years. And the last part, I forgot the last part, sorry, but I think we will continue to be in that situation. I think that we will look at the bottom line would be important for us. As you can see, we are getting close to 19-20% bottom line on our business. Silicon carbide, semiconductors in general, once you reach a critical threshold of utilization of the fab, then the margins go high. Till you reach that critical threshold on utilization, margins are negative. But this is where I think we are trying to focus to find a balance where we quickly get to return on investment at every level. For example, silicon carbide epi, we'll start to sell that as a product beginning next year. So I'm not waiting for the entire plant to be all finished to start generating revenue. We would start revenue at every step of the way. And I did remember your last part, which is are we working with any EV manufacturers? And the answer is yes, because even though we need to educate, one of the things silicon carbide is a new technology for most of the people as well. In India, definitely it is. So we need to educate our customers, and they need to educate their customers. So for example, without naming name, or you may have seen it, we are one of the first target area we think where silicon carbide would find performance-based value will be in aerospace and defense. And we are already working with those customers, manufacturers in India. So what would it take for our product, for them to package our product and go through the qualification from their customers, because defense sector the incubation period is long, maybe 3+ years. So we already have begun that process.
Host, I would request to kindly unmute the next speaker, Mr. Sanjay Sadanand Naik, having DPID and client ID 09098081, and allow him to speak at the meeting. Mr. Sanjay Naik, you can just start with your questions.
Good evening. I am audible?
Yeah. Good evening, Sanjay. You are audible.
Yes. My first question is request you to elaborate on the future plans of the company and new products to be introduced. Second one is what will be the capital expenditure in next 3 years and how it will be funded. Third one is what trends do you see in the market regarding our industry. Fourth one is what will be the expected turnover percentage growth in next 3 years. Last one is what is the current status of silicon carbide semiconductor fab. And I request you also to make corporate film if possible, a short corporate film on our products if possible, and put it on the site so that investors, our shareholders can look into it. Other one is regarding the make site more informative regarding the products and the events as it happens, recent events, whatever if company receives many orders, big orders or what. And Mr. Bhavin, I request you to regarding the voice, it is getting somewhere at the time you are speaking, it is getting low, high. So keep the mic nearest to you so that shareholders can hear better. That's
okay, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my points. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a lead because of the fact that I don't know what the rules and regulations are in terms of forward-looking projections, forward-looking statements, and so forth. So I'm going to stay away from it. I don't want to be, without knowing, I don't want to say. There's a few things I would say. The status of silicon carbide fab is we have submitted what called detailed project report to Government of India, as well as we have submitted detailed project report to State of Odisha. The fab will mean there's a part of ecosystem. The ecosystem first step is silicon carbide epi reactor, which we already procured at our investment, even though Government of India has promised that we will get 25% subsidy, but the bureaucracy is keeping it up. And they say, well, we never included silicon carbide epi to be a product, which is okay. I'm not going to talk about or complain about it, but our aggressiveness is reflective that we made investment about 35 to 40 crores in silicon carbide epi reactor, because that is one of the weakest link in the silicon carbide ecosystem. The second phase is the device fab, is the longest in terms of takes about 1.5 to 2 years, and it has the most capital intensive part of the investment. The second part, post-pandemic, is the tools, what called equipment for the fab. The lead times have gone up to 2.5 years or so. So we are looking at all kinds of possibilities with the goal of how quickly can we get the product. in a reliable, valuable, and practical manner in India. So right now, the epi reactor is up and running, or will be up and running in about next 3 to 4 months. The next step, fab, will take longer. The third part of this ecosystem will come about in about next 12 to 18 months, is packaging part. And we'll get that set it up as soon as we get the approval from government. Most likely, we'll see which one comes first. But as soon as that happens, we'll begin implementing the phase 2, which is the device fab, and phase 3, which is the packaging part of the silicon carbide fab. And your suggestion, I think I really appreciate it. It's loud and clear. I think that we need to increase our visibility, and we definitely are focusing on it. We will, and you will continue to see the advertisement in terms of continue to see which shows currently in the country that we plan to have exhibition. We just had an exhibition in Bangalore. Prior to that, we were in Gandhinagar and so forth. So we will create a communication link to the investor, not just AGM, but every month. What are the highlights in terms of our new orders, our new products, and so forth?
Yeah, and sir, this exhibition links and the photographs are already being shared through social media and Twitter handles of the company. So I think investors who are tracking the company through this social media, they keep on getting these updates about the upcoming participation.
We are very close to finalizing an engagement, a relatively good value engagement with someone also who would help to make our visibility stronger in the market.
As far as Sanjayji's questions are concerned, maybe regarding the future plans and all, which we had already discussed. His next question was, how will the capex be funded? Maybe we'll try to tap the capital markets through QIP or various rights issue or equity issue for funding the expansion. The next question was, what trends do you see in the market regarding our industry? The power semiconductor market trend is upward. We expect reasonably good growth in years to come. His next question was, what will be the expected turnover growth in next 3 years? See, we cannot quantify the growth, but we can just assure you that we'll try to achieve double-digit growth. I think one of the shareholders has also asked that on one stage we are telling about the double-digit growth, whereas this silicon carbide and other new projects will enhance our growth to 3x or multiples. See, we are focusing about the double-digit growth, and based on the current earnings, be it semiconductor devices, power equipments, and so forth. This silicon carbide project will only be a value addition to our growth. So if that kicks up in time, maybe our growth will multiply. I hope, Mr. Sanjayji, we had answered your questions. Mr. Sanjay Naik, hope we have answered all your questions. Sanjayji, you are on mute.
Audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
I want to request you that while going to the exhibitions and all, please make it on your site also, news and events. Please put one section, news and events, on your site, company site, so that it is anytime available to look into that.
Sure.
News and event. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Host, you are requested to kindly unmute the next speaker, Mr. Ayush Agarwal, having DP ID and client ID 03059393. I allow him to speak at the meeting. Mr. Ayush Agarwal.
Sir, I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
So, Bhavinji, I think a lot of my questions have already been answered, so it would not be, wise to go through them again. I can just ask specifically the questions that I have remaining.
Yeah, that will be great.
Perfect. So, sir, first of all, Dr. Mehta, we really appreciate the time that you're taking out today and, giving us answer in detail. We don't see many small cap companies doing this. So we really appreciate this and the time that you are giving us today and the details that you are sharing. So, sir, I will not take up much more of your time, and I will only ask the relevant questions that I have left. Sir, first, if you can throw some insights on, the Chinese players and where are they, in the silicon carbide space and the kind of scale they are creating, something on that.
Sure. First of all, thank you very much. It's my duty, and it's my, the point one. Someone said, do what you enjoy most, and you never have to work for your life. And that's what I've been doing for the last 40 years. I enjoy being in this field. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy creating value and value business model for investors. I want to make sure your money invested in our company, I worry about that you will make money before I make my money. That is true statement. So it's my duties, and I really appreciate it. So you don't need to thank me for my time. Second question about your Chinese players, and I would be very honest. Yes, I sense the competition. I keep vigilant in terms of what is coming from China. Right at this moment, they are trying to serve their internal market as best as they can, and I hear all kinds of numbers. There may be 100 silicon carbide small fabs, mom and pop shop in China that people do business for their own demand and so forth. In a global scene and in a global competition, I'm sure we will see it, but so far I have not really seen any major, except for the there are electric vehicle companies, BID and so forth. My own experience, and that's why I'm keeping it away from it. In 2004, when I had to make a decision whether I exit the silicon power component business and buy from China, because that's what my customers were asking me, or my second option was create a quality-driven company or a support facility, and this is where I bought RIR. Because I found that to be very, very, very driven, quality-driven, and good quality, good committed, dedicated people. My experience first time with China, we had ordered 1,000 units for a company called Alcoa, aluminum company. Chinese, we got 100 units as a sample in the beginning. Customer approved it. We confirmed the order, and the rest 900, their customer returned it because they didn't go through anything, and I ended up paying that money. So with that loss, I never looked at Chinese product, to be very honest, where they are in terms of, I'm sure they will come, this was 2004. In last 20 years, they have come significantly ahead of it. But what I'm focusing is what I need to do the best and how I can stay ahead of technology compared to all my competitors, whether they be China, whether it be Germany, whether it be US, whether it be Japan.
Understood, sir. My next set of question is on the current epi reactor that we have installed and are in the process of starting them. Where are we in the process? I get a sense that the technicians could not travel or there was some issue in that end. So where is the progress? What is the progress on that? If you can share something about that.
Right. So there were a lot of issues since COVID days. And I am the first one who's always looking at, because it's been now 2+ years, sorry. And we have not monetized that investment, and we are paying the cost of money, interest, and so forth. But first issue was COVID in terms of technician from Italy traveling to anywhere, as well as our technical people. We waited 6 months for Italian visa for our technical people to go there. And the visa appointment was kept on changing. Finally, the technician did show up about a month ago. I was also there at Halol when he was there, talked to him. We are seeing some new set of challenges, and I wouldn't say problem, I said challenges, which we can overcome, but it takes time. The quality of gases that we get from Indian suppliers is not where our Italian manufacturer said you should have for high quality epi material. We are working on it. There is also some equipment called some separator that we require. And the lead time for that particular thing, we are trying to get it to minimum as possible. The lead time ranges from 3 months to 12 months. And we are working on a 3-month lead time to get the best quality competitive product. So this is qualification is ongoing. We expect most of this issue to be resolved and start producing revenue source from next fiscal year, which is April.
That is great, sir. So, just trying to understand more about this 500 crore capex that we have committed in the PLI scheme. So, my guess is that this epi reactor that we have installed, can it support the entire expansion plan that we have envisaged, or will we install more epi reactors? And the second part of the question is, if you can break down how much will we be spending on fab capacity and packaging, and what will come first, the fab or packaging?
Sure. So that question is the easy one. Usually on an ecosystem, so the 500 crore, most of the investment would be fab, maybe 60 to 70%. Packaging would be about 15 to 20%, and that would come first because of the two factors. A, the capex is manageable in the beginning, and B, most importantly, the lead times for packaging equipment is not as great as the fab equipment. So packaging will come maybe in next 12. We can get the packaging started in 12 to 18 months. The fab require longer time. And the silicon carbide epi support, I like to do, I want to see, yes, we may have 10 reactors, or I'm just keeping a number, don't quote me, but what my point is, I want to learn how to start walking before I run. So I want to first go through first epi reactor and see what challenges that we have, so that when we get the second one or the third one, the fourth one, we learn from every one of them and minimize the time to bring them up in terms of generating revenue. So we would do what we can frugally and what is required, but we will not enter into that let's begin with 10 reactors at the same time, and then if we find some problem with the first one, all 10 go through same issues.
But will we have to invest more into epi reactor in this 500 crore capex, or will it be sufficient what we have already done?
I think we may need the epi reactor is the least in terms of capex.
Okay.
For example, one epi reactor is about 18 to 20 crores. Right now we have the capex investment. Right now we have one reactor. For the 500 crore investment, it depends on how well we gain the market and the projection. We may need another 2 or 3 reactors to support it.
And
The second part in that, and that's why I kind of, you may say, I'm not trying to evade your question, I understand it. The second part is what product range are we going to make? For example, the epi reactor, how many wafers or how many, what productivity it can have depends on what's the thickness of the epi that we are growing. Most of the low power devices are 12 to 15 micron thick. And when you talk about medium and high voltage devices, it can go up to 200 micron thick. So you can understand how thick epi we need to grow and what product we focus on will also dictate what's the output of each reactor. So, and that we have to assess on an ongoing basis. Right now, we think maybe 2 or 3 extra additional reactors would support our medium voltage business and some low voltage as well with this CapEx project on our silicon carbide.
Understood. So, sir, given the current capex that we have done and the epi reactors that we are supposed to start, what kind of revenues can that generate if we have worked out some numbers?
So again, we need to start. I have no idea what I can share and not share. All I can tell you would be we would do as best as we can to make sure that we generate as much return on investment as we can.
Okay. Okay. I will not push further on this.
No, as I said, I told you, Bhavin can explain it. Maybe our financial people are there. If they also understand the regulation, they can focus. We have a plan. The question, not that we don't have a plan, but at this point, plans are plans. We are doing everything we can to implement those, and whatever information we can possibly give, we will supply. We'll provide it.
Understood. Sir, what we understand, is that our US entities have been a huge support to Visicon Power. And so if you can elaborate more on, what kind of relationship we share with them and the size and scale of the US entities, if we can, talk a little about that.
Yeah. So the US entities have gone through, these are all my, I have three companies, or we have the family three companies. First one is Silicon Power. Second one is RIR. And the third one is Sycamore in Bend, Oregon, which is a silicon carbide fab. All three companies are independent companies financially, but the common denominator is the common ownership of what we have. And we try to make sure that all of these companies are complementary to each other. For example, silicon carbide epi coming from Visicon or Ratanshaw would support our Sycamore fab in Bend, Oregon. The product coming from Bend, Oregon would support Silicon Power's vertical integration for equipment. And the capacity and so forth is last 3-4 years and continuing. US economy going through very high inflation and interest rate. We have to face the reality in terms of what it is. But our core strengths remain second to none technologically, and we kept the core group of people and team to provide a part and product and support customers, as well as some synergies, as well as some perhaps some kind of joint ventures and so forth. So we can be a technology catalyst for a partner or a customer to help them increase their market share with our technology.
Understood. Sir, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as we understand, the US entity capacity is roughly about 3,000 wafers per month. Can we quantify similar, numbers for the Indian entity?
So yeah, the Indian entities are we have our first set of plan is essentially what I mentioned: learn to walk before we run. We're going to start at about 4,000 wafers per month, 6-inch silicon carbide, 150 millimeter.
Understood. Okay. Sir, my final set of questions is that, it has been a very, a tough and a fruitful journey as well, with the entire PLI scheme going haywire and then again, new scheme coming up. So where do you see, our journey going for the next 3-5 years, and what are the key focus areas of the company?
So we are not going to change our focus, because the focus has to be what we believe our strength is. So our strength, we are going to focus on medium and high power electronic systems at all level. In terms of for silicon, we are not doing epi or material, but for silicon carbide, we will do epi because that's the weakest link in the silicon carbide ecosystem. But we'll continue to focus would be vertical integration, but we are not going to only commit to our own component. If we find we can use our own controller technology and buy someone else's IGBT, economically, we would do that. So the focus is silicon carbide epi, devices, silicon and silicon carbide, modules for both, and systems. And in doing so, sometimes it can very well happen that because of the fact that we are able to do silicon and silicon carbide, we may see some opportunities where we may find a hybrid solution, which is a lot more cost trade-off, performance driven in terms of the benefits, and we may just pursue that as well.
Understood.
So for example, what happens is silicon carbide switching device is more premium compared to silicon-based switching devices. But when you look at the performance on a commercial side, I'm not talking about high performance military aerospace applications. On a commercial, industrially, economically viable applications, some customers may find they get 95% of benefit by just having silicon carbide diode in a module and a silicon switching device without paying significant premium for the all silicon carbide diode. So I always look after, and we always look after cost performance trade-off. If that is part of usable, meaning the customer has to see value, sellable, that means we need to be able to make that for a profit. And it has to be integrating technologies, not just one, could be multiple semiconductor technologies into a integrated product.
Understood. Sir, final question is on our customers. So we don't really understand right now what kind of customers are we targeting in India or maybe in the export markets. So if you can give some insight, about what will be our first level of customers, and when we go into packaging, what kind of customers are we targeting as we progress through the years?
So I can give you some specific example of customer, but I think I'd rather talk about the industry. So if you look at the first industry we need to look at the various levels. For example, if somebody is some industry is looking at 100% performance benefit of all silicon carbide. So that industry, in my opinion, in the beginning would be aerospace and defense, because of the fact that key performance benefit of silicon carbide is high temperature, which aerospace people require. Second is high power and also high efficiency, which is very critical, and high speed, critical for defense. So we are approaching from that perspective, trying to understand the immediate, what it would take for those customers or those many suppliers to provide those parts to defense people, in terms of what we need to do to make sure that we are developing a product or a module that fits their existing space requirement or their existing weight requirement or some vibration requirement and so forth. So we need to understand the ultimate application goal, and we are looking at that because we need to develop that particular sector. That's one. While we do that, we are not avoiding totally high volume sector because of the fact that that would give us a significant growth on the top line as well. But where we are focusing on the high volume automotive application is our strength, which is packaging and maybe controlling. And so we are talking to global auto manufacturers that from reliability, what they expect reliability in our product or in product that goes into electric vehicle, what sort of reliability they are looking for, and what material they are considering, which would provide them that level of reliability compared to conventional packaging approaches that people are looking today. Hello.
Hello, sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got muted for some reason. So I have just two questions on this. One is that aerospace is a high gestation period. One, how do you think about that? And two, earlier in the remarks and during the Q&A session, we mentioned that we are not looking at the EV sector as the customer, but you now mentioned that we might.
So yeah, I think they both are important, and I think I'm glad you asked for clarification, because I agree aerospace and defense is a long gestation period, and that's why while we work on getting the product out, we already working with the customers. In this situation, we work with Tata Aerospace and Defense people to understand their requirement and trying to make sure our plans are consistent in terms of, so when we ready with the product, they can accept us because we've been planning to work with them. So we understand the long gestation for that particular sector. In terms of electric vehicle, specifically in automotive sectors, there are tier 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, tier 3, tier 4. We most likely may not be tier 1, which is the direct supplier on a part that they get, but we very well could be supplied to tier 2 or tier 3 suppliers in terms of them providing the supply chain for the electric vehicle, satisfy that particular chain. And the focus of our focus will be, for example, Bosch is supplying, and they spend a lot of big investment in the fab. We still would have fab. And what I meant was, even in the electric vehicle sector, we will be an electric vehicle, but I said vehicle, not electric car. So electric vehicle can be trucks, heavy duty trucks, which require high power, medium power silicon carbide. We would be very much a part of that sector. What I'm trying to clarify and say is the high capex manufacturing facility for silicon carbide, like 200 millimeter fabs and so forth, which are $2 billion kind of investment, specifically gearing for lower power, lower meaning 1200 volt silicon carbide chips for electric vehicle to 4-cylinder cars and so forth. I don't see us being competitive globally because of the fact that we don't have $2 billion to invest. And second, we would get too late of an entry in that sector compared to all the established players that are already there. And I don't want to, make that effort specifically because they already are in that space. They already have resources. They already have reliability product. They already have name and everything else. And that's, so we would find the ways where we can leverage our expertise to support that particular sector, which is electric vehicle, a broad sector. That's why I meant transportation, high-speed trains, heavy-duty trucks, and so forth. They all require medium and high power.
Understood, sir. Sir, just last request from my side. You have been very kind already. The next time you are in Mumbai, we, like the serious investors, would love to spend some time with you whenever you are in India next. And second request is that this AGM has been very long already, and we may have missed a few points. So if we can upload the AGM recording on the exchange, that will be extremely helpful for the investor community.
I think we will try and upload this recording on the website of the company. So you may have the link, you can access it.
That will be great, Bhavin, sir.
And I would stay in touch. I think I think I have your information.
Yes, sir.
I will let you know when usually I'm in India once every 6 weeks or so. I stay there 3 or 4 days and be happy to meet with you anytime, anywhere.
That will be really good, sir.
I'm also open to have a Zoom conversation when you are available, and I can do that from here. You don't have to wait for my visit. But I understand face-to-face meeting. I'm an old school business person where I want to meet someone, look in the eye, and have my gut feeling that yes, I can work with this person, or no, I cannot trust this person to invest my money.
So that's really good to know, sir. That assures us a lot. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Host, you may kindly unmute Mr. Aman Viz, having DP ID and client ID ending with 57216675.
Aman Viz.
Amanji, are you there, or we'll just move on with the proceedings? I think Aman Viz has moved on. So we shall just move on with the proceedings of the AGM. I hope that all the questions received from the speaker shareholders have been replied to the satisfaction of the shareholders. In case we receive any further queries from the members, they can be later on replied through an email. This concludes the business for the day. I take this opportunity to thank all the shareholders present for their kind attention, cooperation, valuable support, and time. The combined results of e-voting, along with report of scrutinizer, will be intimated to BSE. The results will also be uploaded on the company's website www.ratansha.com, and the same shall be available at the registered office of the company. Anyone from the audience who would like to propose vote of thanks to the chair? With this, I formally conclude this AGM with vote of thanks to the chair. I wish the shareholders all the very best, good health and safety. Thank you very much for your support and time. We look forward to meeting you in person next year. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, thank you. So can I end the meeting, sir?
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank